Warning, we're going to be discussing events for currently running weekly anime.
If you want to avoid spoilers for certain shows, there are timestamps in the description. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Timesink. I couldn't even finish doing that.
Well, you finna sound so sad.
Well, the reason why is because yesterday we just watched Machia, and I'm just still super emotional about that. But yeah, all jokes... Yeah, just real quickly, if you guys haven't seen Machia yet, do yourselves a favor, go watch Machia, because holy crap, it was such an emotional movie. Like,
I think most anime fans have probably seen it by now.
Yeah, if you haven't, somehow you missed it, like we certainly did. You didn't even know anything about it, right?
Yeah, I knew nothing about it.
I knew, like, the general premise about it, just as a quick plot synopsis, if you somehow missed it, it's about a fairy-type girl who finds a human baby and starts to raise it as her own child. The catch being, her people do not age that quickly. Meanwhile, humans still age like regular humans. So it's sort of like a weird, how do you deal with that whole thing?
Anyway. We're doing a show.
Yes, we are doing a show, that's right. So let's talk a little bit about that. For starters, welcome back, everybody. Yeah. I'm Jay.
I am Rex.
And this is the Timesink Anime Podcast. Once again, great to be back.
Yeah, so we're going to be changing things up a little bit for anyone who's been watching this for a while. You know, we've been doing this weekly, but we've also wanted to do some side project videos where we do reviews and maybe some more talks about other things. But it turns out when you're working a full-time traveling job and you're only home on the weekends and you still have to catch up on all the anime that's going on, it doesn't leave a lot of time for everything.
Yeah, no, it sure as hell doesn't. And then also having to schedule around recording and then social obligations like hanging out with friends, all that fun stuff. Yeah, so basically what this means going forward. We're going to be
assassinating the CEO of YouTube. Because we need more time, and we need more watch time, and we have to take our new position as the YouTube overlords.
No, we're not doing that. Everybody knows that first things first, you can't assassinate him, you have to do something far worse to him, like Count of Monte Cristo him or Dishonored him.
Yeah, we're going to be doing
quarterly reviews is the best way that we could determine would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah, so we're going to be putting out a podcast episode every 3 weeks.
Sometimes 4, depending on how long the core is going on for, how long certain things are going to be bleeding over. So basically what we'll be how things will be going forward in future seasons. We will be doing our season preview, which is just the shows that have caught our attention. Then by week 3, roughly, we'll have everything
series that's worth watching.
Yeah, everything that's worth watching. Week 6, so weeks like this week will be our mid-season review, things that have kept our attention, things that have kind of started to slip. Week 9, roughly, and we don't know what that's really going to entail yet. We don't even know what we're going to call that.
Probably just talking about shows.
Yeah,
talking about what's happened with the shows we like so far.
Yeah, exactly.
Building up to the climax.
But we don't know what we'll be calling that just yet. And then we're going to be doing our season review like we've been doing in the past, which that'll happen usually after the core's already ended. All the episodes for that series have already ended and concluded. That's what we'll be doing going forward. Another quick thing. Yes, we are aware that we missed last week. Rex, do you want to enlighten us?
So, part of that was that I got sick again.
Yeah.
And part of it was also just contemplating how we want to do the channel going forward.
Yeah. You said in your feverish delirium, you had started to contemplate things like this.
Yeah, because we've had a review on the back burner for about 3-4 weeks now that we've been trying to work on, but we just haven't had the time for it, but it's something we want to do.
Yeah, you've probably heard us bring it up in the past, actually. And if anybody was still curious about it, it still exists. We have a script ready to be reviewed, edited, etc., and actually make it into a video. The problem is, yes, doing this constantly kind of saps away motivation to actually work on side projects, while also still doing while still catching up on shows, meeting up with friends, playing D&D, playing Final Fantasy, raid shit, stuff of that nature.
Yeah. So for the foreseeable future, we're gonna be doing quarterly episodes, pretty much.
Yes.
Maybe sometime in the future we'll go back to doing weekly reviews, weekly talks about just the anime that's currently airing, because I love doing it, but there's just not enough time right now.
Yeah, I love doing it too. Sometimes it does get a little difficult because there are just some episodes where we don't always have as much to say as other episodes.
Yeah,
some weeks are just kind of like flatlined in comparison, and then there are just some shows that are kind of that we like to talk about, but are just kind of hard to talk about on a weekly basis because there's really not that much substance to them, stuff like that. So we're hoping with this new format there might be a little bit of time to experiment and stuff like that. And that's really what it's a combination of things. One, wanting to test out a new format just to see like how it goes, and two, actually being able to work on other projects.
Yeah.
So
it's all a learning process because we never done YouTube videos before.
Yeah, exactly. We are, and for every one of you guys that has actually stuck around for us for a long time, it's great to have you all back. Hope you guys can actually get used to this new format.
Please forgive us. Forgive us for our slides.
So anyway, with all that out of the way, let's get right into the shows this week. So starting us off, and thank God it's starting us off, Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2. This spared no expense getting us right into the thick of things. These first 2 episodes.
Wait, is it 2?
Yeah, it is Season 3 Part 2.
2 episodes, yeah.
It's sort of like a Golden Kamuy situation where they just decided, hey, let's do 2 cores, but separate them into different seasons. It's very strange.
First of all, we got to talk about the opening.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not as big a fan of it. Like, it's not bad. It's just, it feels like we're kind of retreading the same ground. Because it's pretty much the same song from the very first season, just a different part of that song. So it feels like we're kind of derivative, I guess.
I will agree, yes. It is pretty much the same song. That being said, I liked it, so...
Okay, and this might be a little bit of a controversial opinion. I really liked Red Swan, I believe the name of the
last one?
Yeah, I really liked that OP.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too.
It was something different. Like, every intro up to that point had been like the ridiculously like fast, bombastic, like sort of like getting you pumped up for it. That one was like more introspective and somber, which it was bizarre, but it was a nice change of pace. But now, after going back to this one, it just feels a little, like I said, derivative. That's the best way to put it. Is it bad? By no means no. The visuals are still pretty awesome. The song is still very good.
I fucking love Linked Horizon.
Linked Horizon is very good. The soundtrack in the show continues to be absolutely phenomenal. Like, it's Hiroyuki Sawano, so if anybody's surprised by that, then have you been living under a rock?
So yeah, we're immediately back into the plot to go retake Shinganshina, yeah.
As they call it, the town where it all began. Yeah, sounds like a Western thing.
Well, the show has like a Western feel to it, kind of.
Yeah, especially with Kenny and the way that he looked and stuff last season. Yeah, that's a good point. But I'm just saying, it just sounds like the man with no name visits the town where it all began. Yeah. But I really liking this. This first episode was just building up suspense the whole time. This is like, I've always liked it when the series kind of focused more on like tactics, planning, sort of like character introspection and stuff, because you have to remember, at the end of the day, this is a war drama. This series is very much a war drama.
Yeah, it's a war between two very differently sized forces, but it's still a war.
And on top of that, you have to remember that in any war, tactics and weaponry and stuff like that is all incredibly important. So I think when they actually give time to like think about like the tactics and plan, like, okay, how are they going to do this? How are we going to get around this? That's all very fascinating to me.
Yeah, like seeing Erwin's train of thought about everything.
Yeah, and seeing like, and then Armin thinking about like, they've got to be around here somewhere. This is way too easy. They might be hiding in the walls. Everybody, just start knocking on pieces of the wall.
God. I absolutely love Armin's character progression in this show.
Yeah.
Just how he's kind of slowly went from being like a meek, smart kid to, well, he's still smart, but he's getting even smarter, but he's more confident about his decisions now.
Yeah, not only is he more confident about his decisions, sometimes he's gotten pretty damn ruthless. Like with that moment when he tried to bluff one of the Titan shifters that it's like, yeah, we have one of your comrades. We're torturing her right now. So it just kind of goes to show you that war has a really big tendency to change people, and Armin is certainly becoming more cold and more ruthless as time goes. And we only saw a snippet of that. I only see that happening more going forward. As somebody who has never read the manga, I'm going in completely blind here.
I'm actually just about caught up to where I was at in the manga, because I haven't read it in months.
Yeah. Yeah. So something else about the opening that they really wanted to highlight. The basement. We're finally probably... This is the season where we're finally going to see what's in the basement. The OP certainly spared no time showing, yes, the basement. We have not forgotten. The basement that we've been talking about for a long time, we're finally going back to it. But then... after Bertholdt gets found and immediately proceeds to kill someone, and then Levi just jumping into action and just stabbing him in the neck.
That scene was so cool. He was just chasing him down the wall with the sword in his neck.
Yeah, and then how Bertholdt immediately shifts into the armored Titan, and then as he hits the ground, and then seeing on the horizon all the other Titan explosions, it's going...
Yeah, that was weird because I didn't think that normal Titan shifted.
Yeah, I didn't either. It's just... I don't know if that was just a directorial decision or if that was something that...
Oh, no, that's... they were obviously people that turned into Titans right there.
Yeah.
It might just be that, a lot of Titans don't necessarily look special, but they can still be intelligent. Mm-hmm. They even brought that up in the episode. They're like, all the Titans back there that stuck around, they're probably the intelligent ones.
Oh, yeah, and the one with the, that's carrying, luggage or cargo or something like that.
The one
the quadrupedal.
Yeah, and he has, super shoujo eyes and an anteater mouth.
Yeah, I will say this. The Titans have gotten progressively less scary as the series has progressed. And that's in part, because we know more about them.
They've always been goofy.
But yeah, they always have been goofy.
Yeah, and I think that helps the spookiness.
I mean, and a good friend of ours, I'd always thought, when they first appeared, just the way they just lumbered and just how incomprehensible they seemed, that was already kind of scary enough. It's basically just running away from the inevitable. You see these things, you're going to die. Because no matter how quick you run, they will catch up to you. But then they started
on the ugly dimensional maneuver gear.
But then you have the Titans that are running around with finger guns and stuff like that. That just, and I guess a friend of mine, like I was saying, friend of mine pointed out that kind of does add a little bit to the whole incomprehensible factor about it. It's why are some of them like that?
Yeah. Well, they were originally people. You could chalk it up to that.
Yeah. But it is very strange to look at nonetheless. And it kind of does make me feel a little less frightened of them and just kind of go, really? This is what we're afraid of?
I think it helps that the characters take it entirely seriously.
Yeah.
Definitely helps put you in that situation.
Also, so I want to talk a little bit about Erwin, actually, in his whole, the Scout Squadron has gotten weaker speech. I didn't really like that speech. From a narrative standpoint, I kind of get it. Erwin, to me, has always been the kind of character that is supposed to show, how do you juggle personal ambitions and the lives of your comrades? And what are you willing to sacrifice to get to your personal ambitions? That I'll get. I just thought it was a little awkward because he said, yeah, the scouts have gotten weaker because of me, because of all the people that have died, I guess. But when it had already been clearly shown that in the past, and characters have even gone out of their way to say that the scouts had gotten more successful and more cohesive as a unit because of Erwin's leadership. It just feels like a little bit of a clumsy way of trying to, and hammering home that plot point, I guess, or that sort of a inner conflict, if that makes any sense.
I don't really see it as clumsy. I pretty much saw it as Erwin almost taking inventory of his his tools,
Mm-hmm.
and he's realizing that, oh man, everyone used to be able to kill so much more efficiently. Like people lived longer, and that was because that was before all these intelligent Titan shifters started showing up and killing people a lot quicker, like a lot more efficiently. Because the Survey Corps originally just had to deal with Titans and then abnormal Titans.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it for like a long time. Then the Colossal Titan shows up, and I think that was the first major like strange Titan that they had to fight.
Yeah.
And now they're like, over the course of time, they're slowly having to deal with more and more quote unquote fancy Titans. So all the people that were good at their job before, or a lot of them, are getting killed off. So now he's just kind of left with people that are like fresh recruits or barely any missions under their belt.
I guess so. It just, I guess so. To me, it still just felt like a little strange. Like, I get it. It's all about like trying to figure out like, okay, so these are all the people that have died under my charge, basically in the pursuit of my vision. And even him considering, I could just go to the basement right now and leave the rest of my crew. Like, that was actually kind of a chilling moment. Like, thinking, oh, geez, he'd really go that far?
Yeah, I like the visualization of, he's like, I've gotten here on a mountain of corpses.
Oh, yeah.
And just showing him standing all those dead bodies.
It reminds me of a very similar visual to Griffith from Berserk, actually. If you've never read or watched Berserk, basically, Griffith's grand vision was always going to this castle that always seems so far away. And somebody, like, tempts him with basically, like, this stairway of corpses to the castle. And it's just, like, a few more like, look at all the corpses that have already, like, gotten here. A few more wouldn't hurt, would it? And it's a pretty similar concept. So, Armored Titan fight.
Yeah.
Good God, it was so cool.
It definitely gave me flashbacks to when they first fought.
Yeah.
And when, what's his face?
Berthold?
Berthold, yeah, just fucking fell off the top of the wall. Yeah, but that whole fight where he, like, grabs him and starts breaking his neck.
Oh my God. When I saw that fight for the first time, I was like, yeah, like, rip his fucking head off.
Yeah, watching Eren and Reiner fight is kind of like, it's pretty much MMA, like Titan MMA.
Yeah, and like seeing like Eren get him in an armbar, I was like, yeah, get ready to rip his arm off. Like, I was so excited to see that. And like seeing like just the sheer force of their punches, like just the wind gust blowing off the roof shingles and stuff like that.
Yeah, weight has always been something that they've done really well with this show.
Absolutely.
Making you feel like these are monstrous creatures fighting each other.
And then we get the namesake of this week's episode, the Thunder Spears. Like, weapons that were specifically designed to kill the armored Titan, pretty much. Or at least penetrate through his armor.
Yeah, this was something that was really cool to see in the anime. Mm-hmm. Because, I don't know, I guess when I was reading the manga, I always thought they were just, like, flying by and sticking them in them. But it's really cool seeing them in the anime.
They're basically just missiles.
Yeah, they just launch them like missiles. And
then after the string gets pulled, it's like, gee! Like, it actually, like, starts to burrow deeply.
I don't think so. No, when they pull out the string, it just detonates it.
Yeah. And it was still just really cool to watch. Mm-hmm. Like, and then, like, just that moment when Reiner realizes, like, oh, crap, these actually can break through. And then everybody, like, gets ready for the next attack, and just, like, everyone gets their missile into that same spot before.
Yeah, I was expecting that to be like, oh, they're going to shoot him, and it's going to be all dramatic, but he's going to deflect them or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, it just showed him inside the Titan, just like,
no,
wait, please, no!
and then that's where they cut it.
Yeah.
Like, just no, wait!
In classic Titan fashion, like, every episode has to be a cliffhanger.
Like, and okay, I don't mind cliffhangers, I really don't, but this was, like, the most, like, but Titan has a tendency to cut episodes off at the most frustrating points humanly possible. Like, they could have, like, let the explosion resolve. I don't even think they really did that this episode. No, they didn't. They didn't let the explosion resolve. So it's like...
I think we might have heard an explosion noise as the episode cut out.
But I don't know. Titan always has a tendency to just really frustrate me when it comes to shit like that.
So next up is Bungo Stray Dogs, Season 3.
Yeah, back to the plot.
Yeah, that So the week 5 or episode 4? Episode
4, I think,
episode 4 was really good. Even if it was completely unrelated to anything that happened so far whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I think this served as, okay, this is going to be our main antagonist for this season.
Just a bad guy.
So the way that I see it, Dazai at the end of season 2 had brought up, it's like there's somebody far worse coming up. Like the guild is somebody I'm not worried about. I'm worried for what's coming next. I think this guy is who's next. He's that thing that Dazai was talking about.
Yeah, and they were saying they're gonna need Akutagawa and the main character
Atsushi,
yeah. Atsushi and Akutagawa. They were gonna be stronger than
Chuya and Dazai.
Chuya and Dazai could be, yeah. And I think that's, like you said, that's gonna be the main force that they're gonna have to fight.
And let me just say, this main force is fucking terrifying. Like, he is nothing short of absolutely terrifying. Because the gambler guy, who turns out to be one of the executives for the Port Mafia, I don't remember his name off the top of my head. For one, he has a really screwed up ability. I'm going to put these collars around your neck, and at any time, I can basically cash in your lifespan in exchange for jewels.
Yeah, I don't exactly get how that worked. Because, like, does he have to have a jewel touching that person? Like, I'm assuming that's probably what it was.
I think so. Like, I think that is what it is. Like, but
if he puts a jewel on somebody and then uses the ability, they turn into more jewels. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming. Also, what determines their worth? Is it lifespan remaining? Is it how much he values them?
I think so. We don't really know, because spoiler warning, this character dies very quickly.
Yeah.
Like, this entire episode was one of the best executed mind games I think I've seen in quite a while. It kind of gave me actually a little bit of Jojo flashbacks with the against the older Darby, like, and him basically just trying to bluff him the whole time. But it was a lot more tense, because JoJo's always gets tense, but it's usually at the end of the day very goofy. This was just incredibly tense the whole time, just like the way that this character had like planned everything out and made it, and basically tried to play him into thinking his ability did something that it didn't do.
Yeah, he's kind of like Ronpo in a way, where, or at least in this episode, where like the guy thought he had an ability, but all of it was just him being ridiculously smart.
Yeah, like, and him basically being able to see like just a few steps ahead. Yeah,
when he was left alone in that room, he's just like, okay, I'm gonna memorize all the scratches on these cards. I'm gonna stuff some cork into the lock, and then I'm going to break the clock with wine so that it's gonna be stuck there. And just because I know how this guy thinks, he's a gambler, and he even said so himself. Information is what makes a person king. Oh yeah, the fake information he fed to the guy.
Yeah, it was all just
kill yourself and you can escape the illusion.
No, he didn't even tell him that. Like, the thing is the gambler had just kind of figured that out. Like, he had kind of assumed that was the only way out. If I kill myself. And the way they handled that was cool, because he like pulls the cord on the light, it goes dark. But then the next scene we see him, he's hanging from the ceiling.
Well, no, I think they got that information. So he said he fed that information to the one who captured him. Mm-hmm. So I think he probably told the man who kidnapped him all that stuff, and then that's how they got. Like, he kept feeding them false information about how his power worked.
Yeah,
especially even through like the surveillance camera.
Yeah,
that was really good. I also want to talk about the red-haired kid with the.
When I first saw him, I thought it was Chuya.
Yeah, it looked kind of like Chuya.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's probably dead.
Yeah, he probably is.
And if he is dead, I think he was a really good narrative device, because we brought him in. He was kind of a sympathetic character because he had some inner monologue about how he wanted to be the head of the Port Mafia and rule the city.
Like, but he was basically like forced into slavery, because that's the thing I think about this executive is that he has to make sure that they willingly accept the collar. And usually what I imagine is he kind of tortures them or breaks them into eventually just submitting. And that's probably what happened to this kid. And so he was actually he seemed kind of happy when he died.
Yeah, he was. It painted him as a sympathetic character because he was also kind of nice to the guy who we thought was a prisoner, and I feel like the narrative kind of makes you feel a little bad for the really smart guy.
Yeah.
That we don't really know a whole lot about yet. When he's like kind of drying his hair and telling him, confiding him and all these things. And in the end, when he kills him, not only does it do a really good job of kind of exiting this narrative device of that red-haired kid, just pushing him out of the way, it also shows how relentless the one guy, the smart guy is.
He doesn't even. It's like he doesn't even really care that he just killed somebody. Like,
well,
he
it also seemed like he felt like he was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right there, he's just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get rid of you, and I'm absolving you of all your crimes.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't really know what his gift is exactly. All we know is that he held his hand up to the guy's face, and then the guy started bleeding out.
Yeah, and basically his brain exploded is what it seems like happened. So the most recent episode, though, we got right back into the thick of things with the Armed Detective Agency.
Yeah, this is the episode that I expected was going to be immediately after the flashback.
Which
it was just mostly goofy.
Yeah, it was mostly goofy because they introduce like this, like the cult coffee shop and stuff like that. Which, is it common for there to be cafes with coffee and curry? Because that's the second time I've seen something like this. Because that was a big deal in Persona 5, Cafe LeBlanc. It's like coffee and curry is apparently a good combination.
It's an Indian thing.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I know a lot of Indian places serve coffee. It's not like a cafe per se, but a lot of Indian restaurants I've been to, they have coffee drinks on their menu.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah,
like it
sounds good.
I've actually, as someone who's actually tried it, like with like I had some curry and I had some coffee to go with it. Yeah, it is pretty good actually. It's quite delicious. But anyway, back on track. Yeah, back on track. The the bartender or cafe manager or whatever, like everybody's like saying, oh, what a great person he is, like how like good he is at making coffee, like just how reliable he is and stuff like that. He immediately gets attacked by some criminals, gets his fingernails ripped off.
Yeah, this guy seemed like such a badass because they're like, well, danger might be coming here eventually, and what do you say? Is like, danger is savory as long as you're ready for it.
Oh yeah, it was something like that. It was something really cool. But then
you walk in and he's just like, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm okay. Like I'm missing some fingernails.
But he got all the fingernails back, so I feel like he was probably treated by Dr. Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love that.
I love how for like, I want to say like a good solid 2-3 minutes, like this criminal organization's like talking about their impenetrable defenses and like how like their.
I was rolling my eyes the whole time, like knowing exactly what's going to happen.
Like, and I was partly expecting them to be at least somewhat of a threat, but then seeing them like immediately get comically subverted in the most anticlimactic way possible was absolutely hilarious. Like, this show really knows how to juggle, like, seriousness and comedy in a really organic way, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
it was, I loved how they had fun, and they were just, like, chilling out at the cafe. Like, when the first shot of them where they're all just, like, at the table, like, falling asleep. And it's everything's all nice and cheerful, and then the moment they learn that their coffee man was attacked, like, they just have, like, these
death glares,
this fucking murder face, and they're, like, immediately like, how dare they harm our coffee man?
Yeah, exactly. And then...
like, even Atsushi, who is normally, like...
usually so calm.
Yeah, he was super pissed, too.
Yeah, and then, like, the other part of this episode was, or the next episode, or, no, it was part of this episode, my bad, was trying to get Katai, I believe his name is, like, the hacker man.
Oh, yeah.
Basically,
the love letter to,
as we find out, Gin.
Yeah.
Akutagawa's
I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah, because we mentioned, like, a little, like, it had been mentioned in the last season that Gin was, in fact, a girl, just looked like a guy.
Yeah, when she does the...
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, just blushes when Dazai compliments her. Yeah, that was super funny, but yeah, it turns out to be Akutagawa's younger sister. And I will say... this was a nice little, like, kind of self-contained little story arc we had here with this new character. Like, it was just long enough to where you could kind of understand his motivation, why he wanted to do what he needed to do, and how it resolved, like, all in the span of one episode. Like, because even at the end, Like, you see him, like, open his window. You see his room, like, that was filled with garbage before. Like, the garbage hasn't been taken out yet, but all the garbage bags are, like, in the corner and stuff like that. Like, he's getting ready to take them out. He's ready to move on. And that was just a nice little, like, kind of moment that I really appreciated.
What's the blonde chick's name?
Higuchi.
Higuchi, yeah. It was also nice seeing more of her and how
she has a crush on Akutagawa, a not-so-subtle crush.
When she, like, pulls up on him, she's like, oh, I'll do this, and then he'll do this.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be perfect.
And then Gin shows up. What was even funnier about that, like, when she was talking with the armed detective agency about, like, this plan, like, the whole love letter shtick was, like, she basically had, like, I was thinking to myself, did she really just do a step 1, step 2, step 3 profit jump?
That's exactly what she did, too.
I was like, are you serious? Like, I just thought it was so funny. It was great. I like Higuchi. I like all the characters in this show. Like, they're all entertaining. And this was, like, a kind of perfect, kind of setting us into, like, I think Katai is going to be a big part of the story. Like, otherwise they wouldn't have given him his own episode, pretty much.
Yeah, we got the antagonist brought in. We got we were eased back into the main cast.
Yeah.
So now we're probably going to get back actually onto the main plot.
Exactly.
6 episodes.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of, there are some remnants of the guild left. Like Lucy, I believe her name is now working for the cafe they all frequent.
Good for her.
She's trying to make good in the world, which I appreciate.
As soon as she had, like, the metal box in her hands, I was like, yeah, she's delivering something, obviously.
Yeah, really enjoying this series. So next up, Demon Slayer.
So good.
Oh, it's so pretty. Yeah, the show is so pretty.
This is my favorite show this season so far.
I'd say if it's not my favorite, then it's definitely in my top 3 this season. It's kind of hard to say what is actually my favorite, but this one is really good.
Yeah. It was really fascinating seeing all the details about how the Demon Slayers get their sword. And it's
figuring out how the Demon Slayer Corps actually works. Like, this is how you kind of pace out, like, what an organization does. Like, it's kind of like what they did in Psycho Pass a little bit, like, kind of introduce you, like, slowly into how the organization functions, like, and, like, figuring out what their weapons do, stuff like that. And that's all really fascinating. Like, some people might find that boring, but it definitely gives more life to the world, I think. And I think that's super important with a setting like this. And seeing the test was super cool, by the way. I was not expecting to actually feel sympathy for a horrendous demon who was voiced by Dio. I was not expecting to feel sympathy for him, but somehow it managed to get me to feel sympathy.
It probably helps that that's Tanjiro's main. That's how he sees things.
Yeah.
Like, even when he kills a demon, he's not satisfied about it. He's more sad.
Yeah. It's like, because this was a person at one point, and they were a person that probably had their life pretty horrifically taken away from them, and they didn't really have the opportunity to live a normal life. And that's what we kind of figured out with this demon. Like, and it was such, like, a quick thing, too, like, figuring out, like, how he was basically at one point just a scared, lonely child. Mm-hmm. And how, like, he basically just wanted to, like, find his older brother again. And then Tanjiro reaching out, and then the demon, like, as his last bit of action, just clasping onto his hand, like, and before he vanished away. Super effective. We got introduced to, I think, at least most of, like, the main cast that we've seen in the intro so far, with the exception of Boarhead Man.
Yeah, Boarhead Man is the only one
who we haven't seen. And I'm pretty sure he's, like, one of the, like, a section commander or something like that. Like, he has to be. Like, because he's not one of the recruits, as far as we can tell.
Could be a different recruit from somewhere else. Could not even be a demon slayer. He could just be a guy that goes around fucking tearing up demons by himself or something.
Oh, God, that'd be horrifying.
I would love that if he just shows up and just like, starts tearing shit up.
Yeah, that would...
I think we said last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think it could be the guy who's an asshole in the selection exam.
Could be,
but probably not.
Yeah, probably not. The thing about that is, of course. Speaking of him, of course, Bakugo voices the douchey Rhino character. Of fucking course. Yeah. Like, what do I care about your stupid crow? Give me a sword, damn it. And Tanjiro just getting ready to break his arm. He very easily could have done that, by the by.
Yeah.
Like,
Didn't Tanjiro get like a different bird as well?
No.
No, that was
the
Thunder guy.
Yeah, he's like, isn't this a sparrow? Like, yeah, it's like we're supposed to be getting like these like epic crows that can talk and stuff like that. But no, the other guy just got a random sparrow. And I will say this, when he finally gets back to Orokodaki, that was such a well-handled moment.
Yeah, just the big hug.
The big hug, and like just seeing like the tears like from the side of his mask and just saying, I'm so glad you're home, stuff like that.
Yeah, I really like that Orokodaki didn't show his face ever.
Yeah.
Like even as he was like showing genuine emotion and like when Tanjiro and Nezuko were leaving. It didn't even show his face. He just stood there, and all you see is his back as Tanjiro is walking away.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that really quick. It's just another subtle little thing. Like when Tanjiro was getting ready to leave on his first mission, he just is like, "Hold on a sec. Would you let me please?" And he just kind of straightens up his uniform, pats him on the shoulders, and then sends him on his way.
Yeah.
It's just such a small little thing that kind of tells you a lot.
It's such a father.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing to do.
And that's actually what I wanted to bring up. I don't think Tanjiro's dad is around. Like, I don't think he was even there when everybody died. Like, I don't think.
No, I think they talked about him being dead before.
Yeah, probably.
But they might not. They might not even talked about it. I don't remember.
I don't really remember
off the
either.
Top of my head.
But
I assume he's dead.
But yeah, this is like the closest thing to a father figure that he's had for a while, like if at all. Like, and that was just such a nice little moment, just like him seeing his son off. The series has such good emotion behind it, like, and I really appreciate it. Also, some really epic like fantasy level stuff, like. I was thinking this could easily be substituted for like in any like D&D campaign when like the crow shows up after the mysterious swordsman gives you your first sword and the crow shows up and then like starts telling you there are girls that are being kidnapped in a nearby village. It's your job to go to save them.
Shit sucks, yo.
Exactly, just stuff like that. And then like the epic like fantasy music just swelling up. It really kind of contributed to that. Yuki Kajira does the soundtrack for this show, I think, and Yuki Kajira is behind the Karna Kyokai, Sword Art, all that kind of, which has a great soundtrack. I have complained about Sword Art in the past, but I will say it has a great soundtrack because Yuki Kajira is amazing.
I don't remember actually seeing that. Like I know I like the soundtrack, but I'll have to look into that.
Yeah,
more myself.
I think it was Yuki Kajira. I could be wrong. But Yuki Kajira is a great composer. And now on to the fight with the demon in that village. Holy shit, is that thing creepy.
Yeah, it was really creepy when it's just like, it's like grinding its teeth.
Yeah, even before you saw it just being like this black puddle, like they're just kind of following stuff around. It reminded me of a very specific scene from Nightmare on Elm Street. You know which one I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so there were actually two scenes in Nightmare on Elm Street. One is when one of the main girls gets like pulled into a bathtub because she falls asleep while in the bathtub, and basically Freddy like grabs her, like pulls her beneath the surface of the water and is trying to drown her. The other scene is when Johnny Depp's character gets pulled into a bed and actually like just starts getting like blood spurted everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's very disturbing. And I was 12 when I saw that movie. I'm totally fine. But it just reminded me of that, and just seeing that whole fight was super cool. We're probably going to get resolution of that fight next week, though.
Yeah, because I think he ran away.
He tried to run away and was getting ready to attack again, but then Nezuko...
that's right, yeah. Oh my god, it's like my favorite part of the episode when Nezuko just kicks the door open and spins the guy's head around like 20 times.
Oh my god, yeah, it was so epic.
I was really worried that Nezuko was just going to be a backpack.
Yeah.
That Tanjiro was going to have to carry on the whole season. But I'm glad that she can actually fight.
Yeah, exactly.
And she actually, there's a really good narrative device there, in my opinion, of Orokodaki. Just in these past 2 years, he's been using hypnotic suggestion on her while she's sleeping to teach her that humans are friends, not food.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, and I personally agree that yes, that is a good narrative device. I would have personally liked it to be revealed next episode, like myself, because I talked a little bit about this off recording, but I thought that it kind of added a little bit of it would have added a little bit of mystery, kind of getting you to kind of getting the audience wondering, why is she like that? Kind of build up a little bit of suspense, maybe get some theories going in people's heads or something.
Yeah, it's a shonen battle series. It's about being hype as fuck. And that's why when he finally revealed, yes, I did this for her, and she's gonna, demons must be punished, and the soundtrack just starts sweeping up in a really epic moment, and as she just runs at the demon, I was just like, yeah,
this series is super good. And that moment was really good too. I said, it's just a matter of, I personally would have liked it a little bit more had they kind of done a little less with that, because just her kind of looking at the guy that Tanjiro was following around and the girl that he was trying to rescue, and just seeing her put her hands on their faces and just visualize Tanjiro and herself, that told you enough. That told you just about as much as you needed to know about her motivations in that point in time. I personally thought that was super effective, and I don't think that we needed to understand right away why she could think like that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Tanjiro and Nezuko.
Yeah, brother sister fighting.
Sweet team attacks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too.
So next up is Dororo.
We've at least hit as far as episode pacing and stuff goes, after a slip up that was a few weeks ago. I think we've at least re-hit its stride.
Yeah,
as far as narrative pacing and stuff.
The animation is not it's not quite as low as it was for that Terrapul episode 3 weeks ago.
Oh god,
it's also not as good as what it was before.
Yeah, that is, and I will agree with that, but I think that the plot has hit its stride again. This is how you show Dororo and Hyakimaru doing separate things well. Mm-hmm. It's what they were trying to do a few weeks ago, but this is how you actually do it. Actually space out what these two characters are doing at a separate time.
Yeah.
And actually give each of those plot points time to breathe.
We got a little bit of detail about the other person in each episode, but for the most part, it was Dororo got her own episode, and then Hyakimaru got his own episode.
Exactly. And that's all what we needed. I think that's what I think that's what would have really helped a few weeks ago's episode. That and not having terrible animation. But
it really drove home the fact that Hyakimaru's relentless demon hunting is pushing Dororo away.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really important distinction to make, because Hyakimaru, a lot of people are often mistaken between morals and ethics. And I think that Hyakimaru is morally in the right, but ethically is not, because it's totally natural, and even Jukai says it's natural for somebody to want to take back what is rightfully theirs, what was stolen from them. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. That's morally the right thing to do. Ethically, however, in doing so, he would doom hundreds of innocent people to die who had nothing to do with it, were fed false information, are totally unaware of this situation. I think that ethically that would be wrong. There needs to be another solution. I think that Hyakimaru should get back what is his, but I don't think he should just up and forsake all these people either. And I think there is actually a very likely thing that could happen going forward. The treasure on Dororo's back.
My stance on the subject is that would Hyakimaru go back and take if he gives back all his body parts and he dooms a village? I don't think that any of the responsibility is on his back. I think it's all on Daigo's back.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would, people have been having a lot better lives due to Hyakimaru's suffering. But at the end of the day, it's Daigo who started all that in the first place.
I think Daigo's people need to be revealed the truth. I think they need to figure out that the person they've been serving is a liar and a thief and deserves every amount of punishment coming his way. I think that Dororo, being the person she is, will probably find the treasure, and then use that money to fund a settlement, hopefully to like get Daigo's displaced people into a better life. I think that's what Dororo would do. That's the kind of character I think she is.
Well, I don't know if that's gonna work now, because Itachi, the asshole that he is going after the money now.
So I will say this: Itachi, I don't like him as a person. I kind of understand a little bit more where he's coming from, and I think he's a little bit more complex, or at least a little bit more nuanced than he is at first blush. Like, at first blush, he's like, oh, he was just the asshole that betrayed Dororo's dad. But no, he seems to have honor and dignity for the men in his charge. He wants lives, not a better life, not just for himself, but the men he's got under his charge as well. I think that he does have a little bit of honor to him, and he's not just a traitorous asshole. I think he's a little bit more nuanced than
I definitely agree that he, like you said, I don't agree with everything that he does, or anything that he does, really.
Yeah.
But I think he's a well-written character, for sure. He's not just, like, comically evil. Or
yeah, exactly. Unlike the Shark Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, I will say this. Like Shark Boy, he was delightfully creepy. And I can kind of understand, like, somebody who was, like, isolated and alone and stuff like that. And probably that's what drove him to insanity. But, yeah. And just the way they slowly revealed, like, just how batshit insane he actually was. And, like, slowly revealed that, yeah, he was the one responsible. I thought that was pretty well handled and added up to the suspense. And, by the way, just in case you weren't afraid of sharks, let's just remind you how fucking terrifying sharks are.
I think that the sharks probably started off as normal sharks,
but then he started slowly feeding them people.
Yeah, and feeding them people, it's a supernatural world, so feeding them people probably started turning them into demons.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like like a lot of that kind of like old Japanese mythology is like when animals eat people, they turn evil.
Yeah, even Golden Kamui had something like that, with bears that eat people become like demons. But
yeah, like my arm? I gave it to the sharks. It's fine. They were hungry.
And then eventually I slowly started feeding them dead people, but then there weren't enough dead people. Just like slowly kind of building up that suspense, and just like the feeling of just being trapped in the middle of the water with just like this big fucking monster just circling around you this whole time. And then Dororo jumping into the water.
Oh, man.
This episode really was Dodoro's chance to shine, and she did a super good job with that. Like, just the inspirational speech she gave. And then
just like a dear old dad.
Yeah. And even Itachi kind of actually having begrudging respect for that. It's like, yeah, you're just like your stubborn old pops. And then them killing the shark, and then beating the shit out of Shark Boy. Yeah,
that's what I really liked about Itachi right there. There's the moment of like kind of respect for Dororo, and he saw that like, oh, maybe this isn't the time for me to die. But then immediately once they get to safe land, they're like, okay, where's the money?
Yeah,
like I feel like it would have been easier to write and more stereotypical for sure for that to be a point of Itachi being like, you know what? Maybe I'm not going to be a bad guy anymore.
Yeah. And then, of course, just in case you were dense and thought that Dororo was still a boy, this episode, clear as day, said Dororo is a girl. Get it right, people. Dororo is a girl, because even Itachi confirmed it. And then the episode with Hyakimaru, like, we already touched on it a little bit, so we won't go too much further. Just figuring out, like, his ethics and Jukai warning him and refusing to give him a prosthetic leg and stuff like that. Worried that he basically created a monster.
Yeah, I think that the time that Hyakimaru had in the cave was probably good for him. Mm-hmm. He had... Because he said, I'm not alone, like, I have someone, and then he looks down and is like, they're not here right now.
Yeah.
He probably had a lot of time to reflect in there.
Dororo is the one anchor to his humanity, I think.
Exactly. That's the only, like, what's his name?
Yeah.
The prosthetic guy.
Oh, Jukai?
Jukai, yeah. He even said that, like, that's the only thing that's going to stop you from becoming completely becoming a monster.
Yeah, because Hyakimaru has already shown that, yeah, if something gets in his way, he will not hesitate to completely destroy everything. Because we saw that with Mio. That episode was still so good. But
And the only reason he didn't kill everybody is because Dororo stopped him.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course there was just a little bit where he said, "I know who you are. I've always been able to feel. You're my mama."
Yeah, that's the word probably he knows for like parent.
Yeah, exactly.
or loving parent.
Exactly. And Jakai just kind of laughing and saying, "You silly boy," and just kind of sending him off on his way.
It was interesting that even in the end he didn't give him a leg.
Mm-hmm.
Even after he was saying like, you can go ahead and leave now. Like maybe Dororo or maybe that one person will be able to save you. Mm-hmm. But he still just didn't give him a leg because he already decided he wasn't going to.
Which he might just grow back a real leg here pretty soon.
I'm assuming that's probably what's going to happen. He's going to grow that leg back.
Exactly. So, next up, Fairy Gone. Well, the concept for the show is still awesome. There are still some really like creepy, cool moments, but I think that generally speaking, in terms of like characterization and plot, the show is kind of all over the place.
Yeah, like the soundtrack kicks in, the really well choreographed fight scenes start happening. I'm like, oh yeah, they're doing the fighting thing. Yeah, and then it's just like, and back in year 5782 5743,
and just like constantly jumping back and forth between years. I think you very audibly said these years mean nothing to me.
Yeah, exactly, because like I'm not invested enough in the story to really be paying attention to the timeline. I'm not this. Maybe if it was the only show I'm watching, I'd be able to follow it easier.
Yeah,
but I can't follow it, man. And then all the bureaucratic shit I don't care about, and they're like, this is Dorothea, and these are all the officers of Dorothea, and oh look, politicians over here. They're having a meeting.
Yeah, so I think this series really should have taken like a few pages from Psycho Pass and how it handles like organizational and like procedural like shows like it seemed like this was going to be at first. Because with Psycho Pass, you kind of showed like this cast of characters, like all the members of the enforcers and the inspectors in Psycho Pass, or in this case, all the members of Dorothea. You showed them, you kind of like gave them a few episodes, like individual episodes kind of like dedicating like, oh, so this is why this person is here. Like, and this is who they are and why they joined Dorothea to begin with. Kind of give them self-contained story arcs so that we can kind of connect with these characters a little better. And the first, like around episode 2, when the sniper and the spotter girl, that was actually a really cool episode because it kind of showcased these characters' capabilities and stuff like that. Made you want to know more about them. I certainly do.
I care about Free more than I do about Marlia, and Marlia is the main character. I don't think that should be a thing.
No, exactly. And I really like the dynamic between Free and Marlia. It kind of going back to Psycho Pass. I'll be talking a lot about Psycho Pass probably. It does give me a lot of an Akane and Kogami vibe, sort of like a mentor-student sort of relationship, like, or the grizzled old veteran and the kind of up-and-coming promising rookie. It's like a really cool dynamic, one that I appreciate, but it doesn't really capitalize on that. You don't really get much of a relationship here between those two, as of right now.
It's because they're too busy talking about, like, 50 other characters, like,
oh, God. Don't even get me started about their
blonde guy who...
Wolfren.
I forgot he even existed at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he showed up in that one episode, and he's, like, a member of, like, the Mafia, and is apparently an old comrade of Freeze, which, once again, really cool concepts, but there's just so much shit to keep track of.
Mm-hmm.
Like... And I'm really not that invested in the whole, like, Marlia Vare subplot. Like, I get it. It's supposed to be, like, they're supposed to be, like, siblings, family, or even ambiguous Yuri bait, whatever you want to call it.
It's like friends who used to have a peaceful life, and Vare's like, I've already gone too far into the darkness to go back to my normal self. And then Marlia is like, no, you can still be saved. I can save you, I promise.
Yeah, and unlike that dynamic with Sasuke and Naruto, which was kind of poorly handled anyway, at least with Sasuke and Naruto, you had a lot more context for their relationship and reason for why they wanted to save each other.
Well, to be fair, that wasn't a 12-episode show, so it's a lot easier to do that.
Well, 24 episodes. This is going to be 24.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, my point being is that I think that this would have been handled a lot better if we didn't know for a while that Vare existed. Like, if Vare had not been unmasked in episode 1 and we had known that she had existed from the get-go, and 2, like, just giving us a little bit more time to actually acquaint ourselves with Marlia, actually figure out that, yes, she's looking for this person. We don't know who she is yet, stuff like that. This should have been the episode when Vare, I think, got unmasked or revealed. Like, and they could have done that in a pretty cool way. Like,
with the window scene, like where she crashes through the window.
Well, I was thinking that would have been cool, or would have also been really, like, yeah, figuring out her crashing through the window, but then Marlia kind of piecing together that Vare was the one who killed all those people in that what do you want to call it, auction hall that day?
Yeah.
Like with her creepy smoky fairy thing. Like in figuring
creepy smoky fairy thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like the smoke thing from Lost.
Yeah.
But you get my point. Like if that had been like the clue that yes, Vare is alive, Vare is the one that has been doing all these things. Like if that had been the moment she realized it, it would have been a lot more effective. But it wasn't. Like I want to like this show a lot more because it has a lot of potential and a lot of promise, but it just is really clumsy with all
the
these
narrative
plot points.
is all over the place.
Yeah, it's just like it's like the fucking conspiracy board, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
the fight in this most recent episode was really kick-ass though, with Vare and not Voldo.
Yeah, it's fucking Johnny or whatever his name was.
Yeah, I think that was his name.
Okay, which, although you did say, like, when, like, she kept slashing at his fairy, okay, stop doing that, because it's clearly not working.
Yeah, but, I love how, like, genuinely creepy that Johnny was.
Yeah, him just, like, swinging on a chandelier and singing.
Singing and sending his fairy down. In the end, I think he died really anticlimactically.
I think it was fitting for him, because he saw what he thought was perfection in art, pretty much, and then he got crucified and then slumped over.
Yeah, but he didn't let any of that distract him when he was fighting earlier.
Because Vare had never released her fairy earlier.
I guess, yeah, but how do you live so long? If he just was just like, fairy! I'm dead now.
That's a fair point. But yeah, they didn't really give as much to this character because they wanted to kind of spend more on the ambiguous Yuri bait.
Yeah, and then there was the bar scene, which I saw at the end when Marlia was like looking up in the sky, and they were like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I know how you feel, Marlia.
See,
I've been doing the exact same thing for about 10 minutes."
And see, this is where you and I kind of diverge on this point, because I think that, yeah, it's as mundane as it is, it kind of does give, like, characterization to these characters. Like, you kind of seeing them hang out, talk, banter, and stuff like that. It kind of gives a little bit more context to their relationship and stuff like that. It could be about total nonsense, but it's just seeing the characters interact. And I'd say that's a pretty genuine way of going about it, just showing, like, these characters interacting and do what they do. I personally like that. But
maybe I would have been more interested if I was more invested in the characters themselves.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I'm not. So I was just like, I feel like I was just sitting there and my eyes were both going in two different directions while that was happening. And then the episode ended and I was like, what? Where am I?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this show, I like it, or I like it conceptually.
I like it? ? That's probably a pretty good way to put it. Like, I'm definitely going to keep watching it for the rest of the season.
I do.
If anything, too. For the kick-ass fight scenes.
Yeah, and the good soundtrack.
Yeah. So next up is Fruits Basket. And, oh my god.
Well.
Episode 5?
Yeah, episode 5.
5 just fucking wrecked me.
Oh god.
Oh my god, it was so hard to watch.
All right.
In a good way.
So yeah, I will say that the whole, like, Toru, like, like, some people argue that Toru, like, moving in with her grandfather only to immediately, like, leave in the same episode was kind of quickly handled. I'll argue against that and basically say that this was, like, its own, like, 5-episode arc. Like, we'd known from episode 1 she was eventually probably going to live back with her grandfather. This was always a thing that was in the back of her head.
Yeah.
This was just, like, the episode that just kind of resolved that. Like, it ended this particular story arc. So as an episode, maybe it was a little handled quickly, but as an ending to an arc, that's the way I see it, and that's the way that I think it should be seen. It's the ending to a specific story arc.
Agreed, yeah. We finally got to the point where Toru is officially living with the Soma clan.
Yeah, she knows what she wants, and she's willing to say, yes, this is what I want.
Yeah. So the situation that Toru was in, she was a kid who was alone, picked on by everyone in her class.
It's specifically the boys. I don't think
I think it was everyone.
Yeah.
But I think, she said the boys, but it was probably she didn't have any friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's a story we've seen 100 times.
Yeah.
When she finally moved in with her grandpa and the whole family was there, like, it was obvious. It was like, oh yeah, they're the assholes. They're going to be the heels in her story.
And although seeing senile grandpa just slap him in the face and say, "Don't worry about it, Toru. They're just terrible people."
The combination of everything we know about Toru so far and how like good of a person she is, combined with just the delivery of it, the delivery of the lines when she finally just starts breaking down and crying.
Oh my god, it was so good.
It was such a generic situation that was made into an amazing one.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, as I've said time and time again on this show, like, I don't have a problem with tropes so long as the author gives their own unique spin to it. Like, as long as they're able to keep it entertaining or engaging or bring something new to the table. And I feel like they did that perfectly with this.
Yeah, and also going back to your senile grandpa comment, I think he's the character that he's so old that he just doesn't care most of the time.
Yeah.
But he's still there. He's still all there.
Yeah, like... Part of me, and I was actually wondering, like, he kept referring to Toru as Kyoko. Part of me wonders if that was an intentional thing, like, or if he had just...
Isn't that her mom's name?
Yeah, Kyoko is her mom's name. Or if it was just because he reminded her or he was reminded so much of Kyoko just by looking at Toru. It was something like that. I don't really know. But, yeah, senile grandpa, or at least semi-senile grandpa.
Yeah, I also think the line where he said... these people suck.
Yeah.
But they're still my treasured family, and this is still my treasured home. So I still want to be with all of them. Like, I can put up with their stuff.
But you don't have to.
That was such a real statement.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people who put up with their family because they love them, but they don't necessarily. They wouldn't show them off around town.
Yeah, exactly.
Necessarily.
Exactly. And then that episode was super good. We also finally got like the namesake for the show, like, because I didn't know why they called it Fruits Basket. Like, and I didn't even know what the Fruits Basket game was, but it finally makes so much sense. Like okay, children, we're gonna play the Fruits Basket game. Okay, Honda, you're the rice ball. A rice ball is not a fruit.
It was so sad seeing her smile. Like, rice balls are tasty. And she's just sitting there smiling while everyone else gets to play the game.
Yeah. It's, like, it was just heart-wrenching. And then finally, like, when she was, like, walking home with both Kyo and Yuki, like, and it's like the rice ball's finally been chosen, it's just like, oh, my heart. Like, this series is so good. And then the most recent episode, we get a little bit more, like, into Hana and Uo, Toru's friends. They're such good friends. They really are.
It's like the weirdos.
Yeah, they are
3 weirdos that finally
exactly.
found other weirdos so they could finally hang out.
Exactly, like, because you got Delinquent Girl, the girl who's obsessed with the occult, and then just Toru, who's kind of an airhead. Like, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Toru is perceptive. She's more perceptive than she lets herself on to be, or at least sees herself, because maybe she's always been kind of led to believe that she was kind of stupid or not really, and kind of always just someone who didn't really deserve that much attention. Oh, she's just weird. So it's just kind of cool to see like how she has like such good friends. And like like the scene where they all three are just sleeping over and just like laying in bed together and just like happy. It was a cute moment.
When they came over to investigate everything, there was a really subtle moment when everyone was sitting together and Tora was like, "I have a fun idea. Let's play Rich Man, Poor Man."
Oh, that's right.
And then you see Yuki smile a little bit. I thought that was really, really well done and subtle because Yuki's, I think it was a few episodes ago, he was talking about how he wanted to play with everybody, but he never really got the chance to.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'd almost like I remember that being a plot point. But I didn't notice like him smiling. But yeah, seeing him actually want to interact with everyone, that was a really nice moment. And then more family complications when we get introduced to 2 more members of the Soma.
Little German boy.
Yeah, which, as somebody who studied German in college, like, and actually kind of understanding what he's saying, it's pretty funny. I liked it anyway. Yeah, he's half German. He's only half German. And
so he can speak half German in his sentences.
Yeah, exactly, because that's totally how bilingualism works.
These 2 new family members, I was like, well, when did Mori and Honey leave the host club and join Fruits Basket?
Oh my god, you're right.
That's what they reminded me of so much.
I would not be surprised if it was Travis Willingham and Lucy Christian voicing them in the dub. Like, if that is the case, then I will laugh my ass off, because that's downright hilarious. But yeah, Hattori he's kind of creepy, actually.
I think that's the point, because he's the family's reset button, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the one who goes and resets the memory of anyone who doesn't, or anyone who finds out the Soma's secret.
Exactly.
Which is something we're going to be dealing with soon, because when he called Toru out,
yeah,
see him and not tell anybody.
Oh god, yeah. I saw that and I was just like, oh god, this is not going to end well.
I don't think he's going to try and reset her memories. I think it's more of an actual, probably bringing her in to talk with the head of the clan.
Maybe.
Who seems like a really crappy person.
Yeah, because as Kyo has said multiple times, she's not, or no, Yuki has said this. Toru is not the kind of person who will ask for the moon. But then the head of the family at least actually said that exact turn of phrase. Yeah. I will ask for the moon. So obviously there's a lot of tension between those 2 in particular. So, which we knew already. We knew that Yuki wanted to leave the Soma clan, but that's his big conflict. The show has such well-written characters. Like, they're simple. Like, they're probably character archetypes we've seen a million times. Like, you have, like, the hot-headed male tsundere. You have the majestic and graceful princely character. And then you have, like, the sweet airhead girl. But they're all just so well-written that you don't really care.
Yeah, agreed. It's a wonderful show that I'm sure they probably refined, I would say, since their original run.
It actually kind of makes me want to go back and watch the original series just to see it, because I'd like to watch the original series dubbed, and then I'd like to rewatch this series dubbed just to partially see like how the voice actors themselves improved, because it's the same cast. It is the same cast in English as it was like 14 years ago. But so next up, for the first time in a while that we're going to be talking about this show, Helpful Fox Senko-san.
Well, yes, it's just still very relaxing. To watch this show every week.
I think Giguk said it best in his video. It's basically like the closest thing to HP recovery that a show is. Which, yeah, it's such a soothing show. Like, and I want to say that I think it's actually a really nice tactic, like showing that Senko isn't completely perfect. Like, she's not like a perfect girl who's capable of doing like everything around the house and stuff like that. She's actually kind of got things that she's not good at.
Even after being alive for 800 years.
Yeah, it humanizes her in a way and kind of makes her a little bit more relatable and not like some like trophy wife material pretty much. And like just seeing her, and it's actually kind of adorable, like seeing her absolutely freak out when all the electronics are going.
Yeah.
And her like
one thing starts and then another thing starts.
Yeah, and then like it's super adorable, like, watching her, like, kind of talk to the machines as if they were, like, actually sentient and saying, let's work hard together, okay? It was just such a sweet
I'll be in your care today.
Yeah, it was such a sweet little moment. I really liked it. And, like, her just hiding after the breaker tripped, and then Kuroto knowing exactly what to do. It's like, oh yeah, the breaker's just off.
Yeah, it definitely creates an interesting dynamic between the characters of... like you said, she's not perfect. She doesn't know everything, so he can help her with, like, modern day stuff.
Exactly, which I thoroughly appreciate. And then the most recent episode, we got introduced to the second fox girl, Shiro. She's kind of a little bit of a bitch.
She seems like she's trying to be super perfect, but she's not.
Yeah.
She's, like, really trying hard. Like, I have to be the best fox girl ever.
Exactly. And then of course, Kuroto's, like, obsession with fluffing their tails, like, and her just, no, don't touch my tail.
Yeah, so I'm assuming she was like, I'm gonna seduce you, and you can have sex with me, and I'll take care of all of your physical desires. And she was fine with that. But when it came down to, like, when she's like, okay, you bring out your desire, it's to fluff my tail.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you, that's a little weird. That's a weird, like, line to draw.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, seeing her just, like, run out of the house or or phase through, I guess, is the more accurate way. And then, like, into the neighbors, who is, like, at least 5 steps away from being, like, a crazy cat lady.
I'm assuming she's probably an artist.
Yeah.
Like a manga artist or something.
Yeah, because she's, like, always in her house. She's, like, complains about how she's always up working on stuff and how she is just kind of frustrated with stuff. It's just, all I want to do is pet cats for the rest of my life.
Come here, imaginary cat.
Yeah, Tama. And then, like, and then Shiro shows up through the wall and is like, I'm done for today. I'm just
going to bed.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder if Shiro's going to end up being her caretaker for the time, like, going forward. I would actually kind of like that, because I want to actually see more of this neighbor character. She seems like she'll be pretty fun.
So, the bath scene recently, it's just, it impressed me so much, because when Senko, like, you know, went in, there was kind of that, like, little bit of, oh, she's naked and I'm embarrassed about it. And then, but for the most part, it was Kuroto thinking, okay, we're gonna bathe together, and it's very soothing to get, like, my back scrubbed. And the reason he wanted to see her wasn't to see her naked, it was just to see if she actually had her tail connected.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I was actually, like, impressed with that as well, because it reminds me a little bit of Aragi bathing with Shinobu in the Monogatari series, because while the two of them bathe together, and while there is lolicon nudity in both series, there's no, like, real sexual undertones really between those two characters. There weren't really any sexual undertones between these two characters.
Exactly. They remain entirely wholesome.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and while Araragi is a definitely more perverted character, like, there was just nothing there between him and Shinobu, and it kind of took similar cues from that, which I appreciate, because I absolutely love the Monogatari series. But it just basically how even Kuroto said it himself, they're family, pretty much, and he sees her just like a member of his family, so of course it's not going to be weird. Yeah. There's nothing sexual about it.
Yeah, it was almost like a parent bathing with their child. Although from Senko's perspective, she was the mom and he was the kid.
And then even the way he started using his hands like a water gun.
I win. I shot it farther.
Yeah, exactly. This show is just really wholesome and cute.
If anything has shown me that this show is wholesome, it was that episode.
Exactly.
So next up is the lifestyle of Hitoribocchi, or Hitoribocchi's lifestyle.
Yeah, Hitoribocchi, or just Hitoribocchi is what I've been calling it. This series is just cute.
Yeah, it's a really cute comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
So far, let's see, there was...
The most, last week's episode was just figuring out just how unfortunate Aru really is.
Oh, yeah. She just goes to school. Oh, it was first it was the backpack.
Yeah, it was just like an elementary school backpack. And then the next day it's somehow an entire
outfit. Like, how gone does she has to be?
Like, just how? How is that even possible?
Although I love how she just tries to salvage it.
Yeah, like, I'm her younger sister Mieru.
Oh my god.
Like, and the thing about Aru is she's like a character who is so unfortunate that her misfortune circles around to being fortunate again, because everyone around her was convinced she was just doing it for Nako's sake in the end, just to make her laugh. So, in some regards, yeah, I'd say that she kind of just has that effect. It just circles around, like, all the way around to being fortune.
Yeah, and it also kind of helped Nako a little bit, I think, too, because it painted her in a different light for the rest of the class. Like, oh, she's laughing.
Yeah.
Maybe she's actually a little friendlier than she actually seems.
Yeah, because everybody's convinced that she's a delinquent, which she isn't. She just kind of looks like that. But, and the other part of this episode was Aru being in the tennis club and then challenging Nako to a game of tennis.
I loved the dramatic theme song they gave to Aru as she was just trying to serve over and over and over and over again.
And her failing repeatedly. And just seeing, like, Nako, like, kind of cunningly strategize and just saying, she's actually in a disadvantageous position. Yeah. If I just kept letting her serve, I have a chance of winning.
Serving's the hard part.
Yeah. And I want to be as lazy and move around as little as possible. So, and then her ultimately and then it all just turning out to be one huge misunderstanding. Like, she was like, wait, Nako's doing this for me? And she wasn't. Like, thank you for trying to get me to practice again. I wasn't doing that at all. And then the most recent episode, it was Nako trying to, like, actually study because she failed the test.
Oh yeah, the wahaha.
Yeah, the Bochi School of Laughs.
Oh man, that was so adorable. Just well, first of all, I want to say that I'm getting kind of annoyed with the teacher at this point. Because it's, I feel like it's a gag that's not being super funny anymore.
All right, so and I can agree with that to an extent. Here's my thing about it. She seems to be, and maybe I'm looking too deeply into this, she seems to be a person who, at one point, was like Bochi. Like, incredibly anxious, incredibly awkward, and has tried, and in her time has tried to get over that. But being an anxious person, her mind still goes to, like, the worst possible scenario all the time. So she's still trying to learn and get past that, I think. And I think that kind of came to a head when she just looked at Bochi and thought, oh, she's the secret gang leader.
Secret gang leader who has a delinquent, a foreigner in the class vice president.
Yeah, under her belts, pretty much. And yeah, just basically her thinking like that. But no, it's totally benign. And I think that she's at least trying to make progress, which the teacher is trying to make progress, which I appreciate. But I agree, yeah, to an extent, it is getting a little bit of a dry gag.
The gag's getting old to me,
yeah. But then I really like seeing just how hard Bochi is trying for Nako now as well. Because Nako has done so much for Bochi at this point that she just wants to return the favor, and she does.
Because she wants to feel like she's worthy of being everyone's friend.
Exactly.
I
think there's that in here, her just wanting to repay the first real friend she's had ever since she entered middle school, which I really enjoy. Mm-hmm. I thought it was just a very sweet moment, and even her just kind of embracing the wah-ha-ha in the classroom, and everybody just looking at her kind of strangely.
Yeah, I love the ending.
Yeah,
the ending thing we got for this episode.
Yeah, it's we need to. It's like, what's next is we need to make a school theme song for the School of Laughter. Don't add weird details to it. And then it was just the school theme song.
It was a funny song with really adorable visuals.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was the best part about it was that later in the song, I don't like. Aru never seemed to be on theme with what everyone else was doing.
Really, I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
that's a good touch if that's what happened.
Yeah, because everyone else, like, in one of them they were like dressed as like cavemen or cave girls or something like that, and she was like dressed up as like a pterodactyl or something, not like one of them. So it was sort of on brand, but not really, and it's just a nice little touch. I really like that. So next up, one of the short form shows this year, Isekai Quartet.
This season?
Yeah.
I mean, you're technically right.
I am technically right, but yes, thank you. This season, this season, Isekai Quartet is just proving to be a really funny little show.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this since like the second week.
Yeah, because that was when it first aired. The most recent episodes were Tanya and Ainz meeting up and sharing common ground in the fact that, oh, we were both salarymen that were kind of transported to shitty worlds.
Yeah, I loved Tanya's like, hi, salary man, huh? I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Yeah.
I will say that this show is definitely making me more interested in actually watching Saga of Tanya the Evil.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because like I've already was kind of interested, but now I'm more interested after just seeing this character go.
Yeah, exactly.
Interact with everything.
And it's kind of a shame that, because I haven't seen Tanya either, but it's kind of a shame because like that show is apparently the one that has the least amount of exposure or the least amount of people watching it for various reasons, but that even had to explain what the plot to that show was like in the first episode. I think partly because not a lot of people watched it.
It's the only show that they explain the plot to pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Everything else was just kind of, oh, everybody already knows this. They're all really popular shows. But and the most recent episode being a talent show. There are just so many hilarious little gags with these characters, like just kind of throwing them all together. Like, yeah. I mean, even last episode,
Aqua trying to turn undead Ainz, and every time Cosmo's just like, bam, smacks her in the back of the head.
Yeah. And that was a husband and wife comedy routine. And then Darkness, like, just tried to...
Oh, my God.
Oh.
So painful to watch.
Just, like...
Whip me like you always do.
What do you mean like you always do? And then everybody just being absolutely disgusted. And then Subaru going forward and trying to white knight everything.
I love Rem's double standard.
Yeah.
It's just like, ew, you're disgusting. And then Subaru jumps in and she's like, oh, it's okay when you do that, Subaru. It's fine.
Yeah, I absolutely adore it. I mean, it's... Even Rem and Albedo just having a little bit of a kinship with their unrequited love interest is actually kind of hilarious.
You don't need to know someone very long to love them.
Exactly. And then and then Kazuma and Subaru.
Yeah, they have this moment of like friendship and
then
camaraderie. And then once Kazuma realizes that Subaru has, like, oh, he has girls all around him. He has all like he knows magic.
Well, but that's actually not entirely true either, because when you look at it, it's like Subaru's life is objectively worse than Kazuma.
Well, that's the part of the good part of the joke.
Yeah, I know. It's just like look at Subaru's life. His life is practically nothing but suffering.
Kazuma
suffering that he can't talk about.
Undoubtedly had a much better life than Subaru in another world.
Exactly.
He's only died once?
Maybe twice. Twice if you count the Choker episode, yeah. You know the Choker OVA? Like the one where it's the Choker that grants wishes, but then...
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh my God, it's absolutely hilarious. You need to watch that. To anybody out there, look for the Konosuba OVA of the Choker that grants wishes. It's hilarious. It's when they first introduced Union, actually. But yeah, and then the most recent episode being the talent show, and Megumin doing as she always do. Like explosion magic.
I loved the amount of detail they gave to that.
Yeah.
Even though it's like... chibi little tiny sprites, they still put in like all the particle effects for her casting explosion.
Absolutely, that shit is absolutely hilarious. It's a touch they didn't need to add, but they did, and I really appreciate it. And then Ainz creating snow.
Yeah, that was a surprisingly nice moment.
Yeah,
because you have all these characters that are living in like these shitty situations. And people in Konosuba less shitty, but still shitty. Mm-hmm. And it's just a nice moment for them all to be in a high school courtyard. It's snowing, and they kind of just get to look up and play around in the snow.
But then there's like, you've got like some of them who are like, why is he passed out and foaming at the mouth? He's probably remembering his training at the winter training ground. Like little stuff like that.
It was just a pleasant scene, I think.
Yeah. When he was getting ready to do that, I was actually halfway expecting him to summon the demon goats from the end of season 3, which... I would have honestly loved to have seen.
Oh, they would probably have been super adorable.
Yeah, like all chibified
like,
and shit.
Shoot on people or something.
I would have absolutely adored that, but nah, we didn't get to see little chibi goats. It's a shame.
So next up is Jojo Golden Wind.
We've only got one episode to talk about.
Yeah, because filler.
I will say this. I don't think... Like, I could be wrong, but I think this arc of JoJo has had the most goddamn recaps, I think, ever. Like, just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been 3?
Yeah, there have been,
3
like,
now?
about 3 so far.
Too many.
It's getting really fucking annoying.
Yeah, I will allow, like, 1.
Yeah.
1 is fine. I understand production takes a while, and there can be slip-ups.
I'm even okay with 1 a core, maybe, just to kind of, or even, like, between cores, but no, you don't just interrupt, like, in the middle of a core like that. It's, like constantly. It feels like they're doing it all the fucking time.
Yeah, they're like, oh, look, Abakio left a secret message behind. And filler, or recap episode.
God. But this week's episode, holy shit, was it good, though. We got introduced to green tea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're awesome, you might know them by their hit songs American Idiot and Basket Case.
American Dummy.
Yeah.
And Bucket Case. Yeah, it's Green Day. It's fucking Green Day.
It's Green Day.
Yeah.
Like, let's
really gross stand.
Oh god, it's terrifying.
It turns people into goop.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this once again off recording, but I always appreciate it when Araki kind of allows himself to just go into like the really disturbing horror shit that he kind of started off with JoJo, because even the first season of JoJo, it was supposed to be like a kind of a horror themed show. And I like it when he just doesn't forget those roots and just allows himself to revisit really disturbing shit from time to time. Like seeing a guy jump over a banister and then immediately just crumple into goop. Yeah. Ugh, it was so disturbing to look at. Just
a lot of dead people in this episode.
Yeah, lots of dead people.
Bystanders.
Yeah, this is probably the most dead bystanders we've seen in a while, with the exception of maybe that town in Stardust Crusaders with the mist. But I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Chocolata, he's a fucking asshole. Like,
oh yeah,
he is
so creepy.
He is so completely just batshit insane.
Yeah, ridiculously evil.
He reminds me a lot of Johann Liebert from Monster, actually. Like, with the exception of Johann Liebert doesn't have like stand powers that turns him into green jello when they hit the ground. And what I mean by that is that Johann Liebert has like the ability to just know what to say to people at different times to just get them to basically drive themselves to suicide or violence or anything like that. And it was just a nice little touch. It was so creepy, and I absolutely appreciated it.
Yeah, it was really... His backstory is just like, ugh. It made me uncomfortable watching it, how he would just make old people kill themselves and
then record the footage.
Yeah, and operate on people, but reduce the anesthesia so they wake up during it.
Ugh. And then like showing their like intestines to them.
Ugh.
Oh god, it's so creepy. But the other thing is apparently stands are midichlorians.
Oh yeah, stands are a virus that came from space.
Like, it just... Okay, what? Like, alright, it's kind of in keeping with the ridiculousness of the show already, but to me it's just like, okay, really? Like, I'm just like, alright, okay.
Yeah, I kind of expected the stands to be like some kind of ancient Aztec magic or something like that.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be just an evolution of Hamon, which is kind of what I thought it was going to be in the first place anyway. But
nope.
But no, it's basically midichlorians, like, because they're a virus that, like, when they enter a person's bloodstream, they have the ability, it will either kill them or it will basically evolve in their bloodstream and turn into like superpowers. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what it is.
Although it's weird that all their superpowers are manifested as a thing.
Yeah, usually
that's next to them.
Usually muscly men. Mm-hmm. I just get the feeling that Araki watched episode 1 and thought, maybe I'll just implement that.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like,
but it's whatever.
It's JoJo.
I don't really care.
Like, it's just fun to kind of go, okay, what with this? But it's just funny. Like, that's all it is. It's just funny to me.
I'm interested in seeing how Green Day actually works.
Because as far as we know, if they go to like a lower point than they were before, that's when it starts to like basically sprout the mold or whatever it is.
When they, at the point where they ingest the virus into their system, I feel like it kind of snapshots their elevation, and then if they go lower than that, then it starts to infect them. But I'm wondering if he can like change that at all.
Yeah, he certainly seemed to be intrigued by it and actually thinking, oh well, this is actually just starting to get interesting.
I'm sure he'll have other abilities.
Yeah, there's
stand.
It's an enemy stand. We can just throw out bullshit.
And then his partner,
Seko, I believe his name is.
His partner will probably have some kind of thing.
Yeah, we don't know.
All we know is that he was one of his ex-patients.
Ugh, God, that's just a terrifying concept.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious to see if Trish is going to do anything here. I'm also even more curious to see like who the guy who called him over the computer was.
Oh yeah, me too. That was a pretty big part of the episode.
Yeah, that was a huge part of the episode. Like, and I'm just like wondering, who is this man? Like, why does he know so much about stands? Like why does he know so much about the arrows? Why can only one person know about the arrows? Let's be real. It's going to be Giorno who's going to find out the secrets of the arrow. It's
on the opening.
It's going to be. I don't think it's going to be himself he's stabbing the arrow into, though. I don't think so. It's possible, but at the moment, I'm not sure. So next up, Joshi Kausei. When I say short, I mean very short.
Yeah, it's like 3 minutes long.
It's like a 3-minute episode. It's just quick little comedy sketches. That's all it really is.
Yeah, it's surprisingly a little bit etchy.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of
the first episode was like, look at this high school girl's thighs.
Oh yeah. I think that lends itself to the humor though a little bit.
Yeah,
because it just kind of makes it more ridiculous.
Yeah, and then because the most recent episode, it's like, hey, let's take a look at the thigh girl's older sister's ass on a couple occasions, like when she's trying to work out. Like, just okay then. This series though, it just has a lot of really funny little like jokes that they can just get away with telling with no dialogue, and it's just very cool to see how they do that. I still think one of my favorite jokes in this series has been when they were at like the malt shop or whatever it was, or whatever you want to call it, cafe, and then she just denies them a drink from her from her milkshake. I thought that was funny and just
because all the jokes are based around like their expressions, or their like noises and. It's whenever they're just kind of like walking together and like like I love how that's how they use the dialogue pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a very cute, quick little show that I personally recommend watching if you're just
for sure. Like it's 3 minutes of your week.
Exactly. it's real. So you're really not going to be missing out much. Just like turn it on just turn it on really quickly. Okay, that's that. Moving on.
So next up is Kono Oto Tomare, which has easily kept getting better as the show goes on. It's a little bit of a slow burn in the beginning.
That performance.
Yeah, I have a lot of choice words to say about their performance, and I think the writer did I think the writer or the adapter, I think it's a manga, right? Yeah.
It was a manga originally.
It's a manga.
Yes.
I don't know if it probably worked better in the manga when they kept interspersing details because you don't hear the music.
Mm-hmm.
But in the form of an anime, when they were playing the performance, I thought it was an absolute terrible decision to intersperse all this dialogue during their performance.
Yeah, and you could have just as easily just shown like kind of little snapshots of what all the characters were thinking about and not include any of the dialogue.
They should have had the music be playing front and foremost as the loudest thing.
And even if they did include like some of the dialogue, like just choose the most important things. Like when Chica's grandpa said, "Oh, so that's how you smile." That was a really meaningful line. I would have been fine if they kept that one in just particular, but they really should have minimized the dialogue. I agree.
I'm just gonna stand by the statement of I don't think there should have been any, because the song was beautiful. Like it was really cool to listen to, and I would love to see the process of them recording it for that actual episode.
It would have been so good.
Yeah, getting all the... it might have been one koto in different tracks, but the instrument is fascinating. It's one of my favorite parts about the show is learning more about the koto itself.
Yeah, figuring out how it works and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And also just some of the character interaction and drama that we've slowly been progressing. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Kudo is the main character. Kudo is easily the main character of the show. And and I don't think that Kurata is supposed to be the main character. Like, I really don't. Like, I think he's just kind of supposed to be like the thing that kind of brings everybody together. And while I think that he's slowly becoming a more important character as the series has progressed, he's not the protagonist of the series.
Yeah.
I'd probably chalk it up to Kudo and Hozuki for sure.
Yeah.
They are the characters that I think are the most important to the story. The performance was really good. I agree. I think they should have probably cut out most, if not all, of the dialogue.
Yeah, there's so many little bits. Like the part that bugged me the most is when they were starting to falter, and they were all like, they had to say like, "Oh, we're not doing well. Oh, we're messing up. Blah 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 blah. Oh, she played the note really loud. Oh, we can follow her, and everything's good again." I think that could have been so much better.
Yeah, that could have all just been all right. Let's just cut the dialogue and just use like facial expressions and cues and stuff
even
like
just
that.
Listening to the music, you'd hear like blink blink blink, or like they'd be getting off time, and like the audience noticed there was something upset or something wrong. It sounded weird. Like I feel like we, as the viewers, probably would have noticed as well.
Yeah, or even if we didn't, just kind of gauging from the audience's expression, we could have picked that up.
And then you could have just put a lot of focus on that one scene where she plucked a string really hard and just kind of brought everyone back.
Yeah.
To the center, just paying attention. But whatever, it's a minor. Well, actually, it's a major complaint. But it was still a really beautiful episode.
It was, and seeing like the bit where the dragon like came out from the Kotos and like into the audience, that was real. That was a really cool like just visual detail that I really appreciated. But yeah, as you said before, like, and even the episode said, music kind of helps people communicate when they don't really know how to. But they could so they should have just let the music do the talking.
Yeah, agreed.
But I think it was an absolutely genius decision to end like with the music stopping and just seeing like an ending on Kudo's smile. And I think that was an absolutely genius decision because it kind of like it leaves the audience in the show kind of just like in awe, and it leaves the audience at home in awe of the performance they just saw as well. I think that was a really good decision on their part to cut the episode there and then immediately proceed with the resolution and how everybody responded, which was fucking great. Like seeing everybody just applaud and be happy, and even them like brown nosing the vice principal.
Yeah. Even Kudo.
Yeah. I
thank you for all the friendship and happiness lessons you've taught me.
I think like And while I agree that it was primarily to score brownie points, I think there was some genuine like feeling there actually, because
there was with Kurata, I think.
Yeah.
But I think that Hozuki and Kudo,
and they kind of I like how Kudo kind of saw what she was doing in the background and then kind of like, "Oh, I see." And then he just kind of joined in. And then Kudo's friends, we still don't really know their names. At the moment, they're still just Kudo's friends.
I'm not going to bother learning their names until they give us more about their characters.
Yeah, I think it's Koda, Mitsu, and something else.
They're essentially one character.
Yeah, exactly.
We got introduced to, apparently, Mine.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Mine got into this show.
Yeah, she even looks the same.
Yeah,
like bitchy redhead with long hair.
I will say that it was actually a really cool decision that they didn't show her face for like the first half of the episode, like because you see her in the audience. She was like the girl who kind of clutched her chest and stuff and seemed to be really moved by the performance. But then we didn't see her face while she was talking with her friends. The first time we see her face is when she submits the club application to Kurata, and then the rest of I think it was just a really cool decision and maybe a little bit of character insight to say we don't really see her face like as the audience, and people don't really see her true face in general.
Yeah, because she's like very obviously two-faced.
Yeah, she's an incredibly fake person,
like going around lying to everyone in the club, trying to make everyone hate each other. I'm assuming she has some kind of long-standing grudge against Hozuki, probably,
which I don't know if they like. It doesn't seem like Hozuki knows who she is, but
it might have been somebody like she crushed in a competition or something.
And there was a very choice line from Hiro at the end, like Big Sis is going to show you how it's done or something like that. Like, we don't know like all about Hozuki. We don't know about like Hozuki's family life. We don't know all we know about it so far is that she's on bad terms with her family. And that's made it incredibly apparent by the most recent episode when we see that she's living by herself in a kind of crappy apartment. instead of like a big fancy house like everybody was expecting her to.
Oh yeah, and Kudo's gonna take care of her. She's all sick. That's what the preview looked like, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
probably gonna be adorable. Nice
yeah,
episode. A little bit of touchingness.
Yeah, these two are clearly ship teasing. Like, let's be real. I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna happen. Like, they've just seemed to have that kind of chemistry, or at least they're trying to build that kind of chemistry with them. But I'm wondering if Hozuki isn't really like the Hozuki family daughter, if she's like adopted or something of that nature.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe found out that she was a bastard child or something. I don't know. We don't know a lot about Hozuki yet. Maybe next episode we'll find out. And maybe we'll find out why Hiro's such a bitch. So next up, One Punch Man. It still kind of continues to be blasé, actually.
Yeah, let's see. I did not see this most recent episode. It was like a tournament fight, right? They started the tournament.
It was getting ready to set up the tournament. Yeah, it was introducing like all the characters involved in the super fight. We actually got introduced to the League of Monsters, which I wasn't. Yes, in addition to the Hero Association, there's also a League of Monsters now.
Did not know that was the thing.
Yeah, it is apparently a thing. That actually was hilarious. And they were actually trying to recruit Garo because, like, he sees himself as a monster, or at least fancies himself a monster. But yeah, the monsters are all, like, just invading the town simultaneously while Saitama's off doing, like, his fake tournament fighting.
Yeah, okay.
So, once again, it just feels like so awkwardly interspersed. Like, that's the big problem. Like, there's so many plot points that just don't really seem to be connected.
Yeah,
and this probably is chalked up more to the adaptation more than the original source material. But
yeah, I was hoping that the show would be getting better because it felt like it was a little bit from like episode 4.
Yeah,
episode 3 and 4, I think.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, this is looking a little better. The fighting's looking good, and a little bit. We got to see a little bit more Saitama. Snarky comedy.
Yeah, like just I'm gonna put a banana. Yeah, yeah, just stuff
exactly.
like that.
But it's been going back downhill again.
Yeah, I don't really know like what more to say about it. Like it's just disappointing. Like, and it just feels like even when you don't have the first season to compare to, it just feels like a very flat adaptation. Like the fighting animation between Garo and Metal Bat, because that was a big thing in the most recent episode, it just felt very flat and lifeless. There was really no like weight or impact to like Metal Bat's swings or Garo's punches. Like it all felt very artificial. And I think that's the best way to describe it. Like this adaptation this season is just very artificial feeling, lifeless.
Yeah, it almost feels like JC staff kind of were like, oh, that's an easy cash grab. Let's pick that up and make that.
Yeah, or at the very least, their director. There's a big production thing going on there. Like actually, like I think like the director just doesn't particularly care. Whoever and Jace probably some higher up just probably said, oh, that seems easy. Let's hand it over to this director who also doesn't give a shit. So. I don't know. I will say that actually finding out about Metal Bat having a little sister who is able to calm him down actually is kind of sweet. She actually even like hit him in the back of the head and like knocked him out. Like not even joking. Like, cause he refuses to fight whenever she's around. Like absolutely refuses to.
He wants to be like a good influence on her.
Yeah. He doesn't want to make her like hate her big brother or anything like that. It's a genuine moment. In
the episode before the most recent one where it had Metal Bat fighting the giant bug guy.
Yeah.
I was absolutely not interested at all in every other bit.
Yeah.
Because it was just kind of boring. But I actually find myself liking the Metal Bat story a little bit more. I think that episode could have been pretty much nothing but a Metal Bat story, and I would have liked it a little more.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was super annoying. Like, how it's like, oh, hey, Metal Bat's like this really strong S-class character. I mean, and then, hey, let's introduce these baddies for him to fight. Oh, they're going to be knocked out on screen.
Yeah.
Or off screen. It's like, really? Really? That's what we're doing here?
Yeah, because I think it's really cool if it's like...
His kind of like
Bancho.
Yeah, like late 80s, early 90s, like Japanese delinquent style. Yeah. And he just has a metal bat that he likes to bash people with.
Yeah. And it was so hype when he was getting sleepy from like the the poison gas or whatever. He just fucking smacks himself in the head with his metal bat. It's like, I'm feeling it now.
Yeah, fighting spirit. His power is literally just Gurren Lagann power.
So cool. But overall, yeah, it's disappointing so far is what this season is.
Yeah.
So next up is the Rising of the Shield Hero. Whereas One Punch Man has been getting more disappointing, this has been getting better as it's been going along.
Yeah, I think the whole like trial episode between Fitoria and Philo was kind of actually meh to me.
Yeah, that was kind of silly. Yeah, I guess that's a bit I will say was not better because it was like, because the cliffhanger was like, I'm gonna kill all the heroes.
Yeah,
and it made it to seem like this big important detail.
Yeah, but then they kind of undercut it, just like, it's actually a test to just see if Philo is worthy to be the next Philolio Queen. That was kind of dumb. Like, I wasn't like, I like Philo as a character, and it was actually kind of cool it would have been cool to see her in a sort of more active role like this, but it just kind of didn't deliver as much of a punch as it really should have. I wasn't really that interested.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in the end when she revealed that, like, yeah, don't worry, it was just a plan all along. But like, in the end, she still did say, like, but I will kill you if you don't get along with the heroes.
I will say that the use of the after credit scene where freaking Itsuki and Ren just got blown the fuck up, that was super, like, just out of nowhere. I'm like, oh shit, that just happened.
Yeah, it definitely felt it was mostly an episode for Philo.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would have been a lot better if they didn't have the I'm gonna kill all the heroes bit. Like, it would have felt a lot more genuine if she showed up and then just there was no death threats. She was just like, I challenge your Philolio to a battle.
Yeah. Or
there even could have been her still showing up and killing the dinosaur, and that would have been enough to be like, okay, she's really strong. I can't really say no to her challenging this character.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I get it. Like her philosophy made a lot of sense. That's why it was so cool. Like to actually hear like her actually say something like that, but they just didn't really follow through with it. And that was the problem, I think, with that episode. The most recent episode, on the other hand, actually pretty cool. Like Motoyasu finally somewhat getting his head out of his ass.
Kinda. It was more like somebody pulled his head out of his ass.
Yeah.
And that was a priest.
Yeah. I will say, I actually do appreciate Naofumi actually trying to talk Motoyasu down. Like, he recognized that Motoyasu was more angry at him than usual, so he was trying to figure out why that was.
Yeah, the Philolio Queen did bring up a really good point of, if you never deny it, then you're basically admitting your guilt.
Yeah. They'll take it as an admission of your guilt.
And Naofumi is like, oh, hey, maybe that's right. Because this whole time, whenever they accused him, he's just like, fuck it, you're not going to believe me anyways.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think in the beginning, he was saying, like, no, she's lying. It wasn't me. But eventually he just gave up because no one believed him.
And then, but then also seeing, like, once again, we have an evil church that is behind everything. Like, they're even staging a coup against the royal family now. Cool.
It's
like, and okay, like, I get
fantasy world.
Like, I get it. Like real, like, that is actually a real life thing. Like, in the history, there has been historical revisionism, like, with religion. That's been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't necessarily have a problem with them using it as a plot point. My problem here is that it's kind of funny seeing how common of a plot point it is in every, like, fantasy story.
Sure, yeah. It's common. I think it was handled well here, though.
Yeah.
It was really interesting seeing you have the line of mine trying to dupe Naofumi and get him killed, and then there's like a higher level of someone who just duped mine, who's trying to fuck her over, and you even see the look on her face, like,
Wait, no, bitching, like dicking someone's over is my job.
How could you do this to me? How could you do this to anyone?
And even Melty's like little comment, it's like, oh, that logic is really twisted. Why does that sound so familiar? Giving her like a very glaring side eye.
I loved this scene where Fila just like teleports behind you and she just kicks everyone into the center. She's just like, you need to make a lot of shields right now. And it's like, I think it was like her animal instincts kicking in probably.
Yeah. Because even Raftalia, like, kind of like, wait, where are all the guards?
Yeah, that was a really well done scene.
Yeah, just like, because of course nobody's going to notice like a detail like that. Everybody's so distracted with the fight that's going on. And then all of a sudden, by the way, here comes Judgment.
Yeah. And he's like, shield prison. She's like, no more.
Yeah, exactly.
More shields.
Yeah, more. Yeah, and then
priest. I am God, and like, you're a blight on the world.
And the royal family has also perverted like the whole God thing, which somebody I actually on KITSU had like that, because I made a comment about this. Like the whole, like, oh, why is it such a common plot thread in any fantasy story ever? And somebody pointed out, it's like, well, if you really think about it, the Merlemark Church is the church of the sword, the spear, and the bow, and the shield is supposed to be the devil. So that's why they go out of their way to keep up that narrative. And it seems that the royal family, the queen, has actively been trying to make the shield a more virtuous looking force, which completely subverts everything.
Yeah, so they want to get rid of that. Probably since they think that Ren and Itsuki are dead, which I'm assuming they're probably not.
I wouldn't be entirely surprised if they turned out to not be dead.
They're very prominent in the opening.
Yeah.
And this doesn't seem like the kind of show that would kill off the main characters, at least like now. Maybe later.
Yeah, exactly.
But since the Pope guy is like, oh, those guys are already dead, I'll just kill these two heroes. We'll get new ones, and then I can spin them my narrative.
Exactly. So, next up, Sarazanmai. You know, I really like the character drama on this show.
This is a great short-form show.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I think it should be. So, because they have about half an episode, maybe a little bit more than half an episode, that is really good character drama.
Yes.
And it's all the characters going through all these deep psychological problems that they have.
Exactly.
And the other half is the same battle scene we've seen every episode so far.
And I will, and I'm not entirely defending this. The way that I personally see it is that I think it's kind of supposed to be an homage to like old like magical girl shows like from the 90s and stuff like that. So things like Sailor Moon and Revolutionary Girl Utena. More Sailor Moon, like the original Sailor Moon, because the director of the series worked on both of those. And it was always the same long, drawn-out transformation sequence, resulting in the same attack, defeating like a very similar bad guy each week.
Yeah, but it was a different fight. Like the fight would be different, and then the finishing attack would be the same.
Yeah,
and the transformation would be the same, but it wasn't as long. The action scenes in this show are exactly the same. Like they block an attack, they shoot water, they pluck out the butt marble.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit different in this episode because it popped back out.
Yeah, and I actually was actually wondering about that, because each time I think that each time they picked out one of the Shuriki Dama, usually it's resulting because of something kind of similar to that specific character. And the reason that's the reason why that specific character swallows it and is able to actually like sort of process that kind of trauma or whatever. And I think that with this week, the reason why is because it hit a little too close to home for Kazuki, which is why he couldn't hang on to it. And so that's why it actually went back to the Kappa zombie.
That's a really interesting observation, because I actually didn't think about that, but yeah, it makes sense when you say it that way.
Yeah, right. I'm just like, mainly because like I've been wanting to figure out like what exactly is all this. There's probably more like layered to the silliness than I'm personally giving credit for. Like I'm sure there is like more to each individual like Kappa zombie, what their motivations are, and what kind of sick, depraved person they were, and why why otter cops want
Why the evil empire is trying to do this.
The weird otter empire, like that was revealed, like the fact that there was an empire was revealed like in episode 3, I think.
And I will say that even so the action, the fight scenes, the song at least is slightly different every time. The otter cop dance is the exact same song every episode.
Yeah.
That seems like padding to the extreme.
Yeah.
Like, they could at least sing about something different. I wouldn't care if they used the same animation if they sung about something different.
Yeah, it has been the exact same, like, song about desire extraction. Well, and at least the actors can sing. Like, I will say that. But,
I almost feel trapped by the first episode.
Yeah.
Because it was, like, probably my favorite first episode of this season.
Yeah.
Just because it was so amazing and ridiculous and the action was so good.
I was like, what the fuck did I just watch?
And then, it's just been the same.
Now,
but, like I said before, I think this would have really... either they should have changed the action up or they should have made this a short form show.
Yeah.
Because all the drama is really, really interesting.
And yeah, let's actually talk about some of the drama in these past couple weeks. So a couple weeks ago, it was about Kuji's backstory, like figuring out like why he's so messed up. And it's all because, and it's actually in a kind of strange way, you kind of actually sympathize with his gangster of an older brother. Like they actually are just two brothers who want to protect each other.
Yeah, it's just raised in a shitty world and you have to do what you have to do to survive.
Yeah, and they legitimate, like, and Kuji's older brother just wants to protect his younger brother, and he realizes he can't entirely do it alone. Like, the fact that he was willing to take the fall for the fact that Kuji killed a person shows, like, a huge deal for that. Like, I'll be the one, like, this will be our secret. I'm the one, like, I know that you did it, but I'm going to be the one who seemed like I did it. Like, I'm willing to take the fall here.
Because a kid, that would have destroyed his entire life, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think Kuji still probably goes to school at this point, and that wouldn't have been a possibility.
Yeah, even if he breaks into people's cars and sells pot on the streets.
Yeah, herb.
Yeah,
they never called it pot.
Yeah. It's pot. It's marijuana. Like, just look at it, for fuck's sake. But, and then it ended with a really, like, crazy, like, revelation. The I hate Haruka, like, saying. Yeah. And then figuring out this episode why that is.
Yeah, I think that was something said in Heat of the Moment. I don't think he actually hates Haruka. It was revealed in this episode, apparently, he hates himself.
Yeah.
Because he's been using Haruka as a shield to make himself feel better, pretty much, ever since the time where Haruka got ran over.
Yeah, like, and that was actually a really good use of, like, I guess, narrative pacing, because, like, seeing Haruka and stuff walk around, like, it put the audience kind of on edge. You knew something bad was going to happen soon. You didn't know what it was.
Oh, he got his legs! What bad's gonna happen? I was, like, waiting the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. So
car goes by, you're like, that car almost hit him.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was a really smart decision for them to reveal only a few episodes ago that Haruka was crippled, like in a very subtle way, like just see him all of a sudden getting pushed around in a wheelchair.
And they didn't even like specifically say it.
Yeah,
they just showed it.
Yeah, and then in this episode, like when Kazuki is like just breaking down crying, he's like, Haruka is never going to walk again because of me. I think that was a really just like heavy moment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it was so hard watching. Like, it was so cringy watching everyone figure out who he actually was.
Oh god!
When he was on stage and she busts in and what's his face? His friend, Enta tries to fix it. Mm-hmm. But then she actually shows up and it's like
and just like seeing everything just start to come unraveled in that point in time.
And that's gonna be so devastating for Haruka too.
Yeah, because that was a big thing. Like, Haruka was so happy when Kazuki said his secret phrase, which was actually what he said to Kazuki when he was younger. Mm-hmm. And that was a very touching moment. He was so happy. But then when the real Sarah showed up and just asked, "Who are you?" Yeah. And that was crushing to him. It's like, oh, wait, no, she's a fake. But then seeing the wig finally come off, just fuck.
And his parents saw, too. And
yeah.
a lot of other people saw, and that's gonna be so uncomfortable to deal with in these next couple episodes.
Which I want to point out, they haven't transformed back into people yet, because Kero or Kepi has said, because you couldn't kill the Kappa zombie, I'm not going to turn you back into people yet.
So yeah, maybe there'll be some kind of, there's gonna have to be some kind of resolution next episode where he maybe comes to terms with everything that's happened, and maybe Haruka will probably quote unquote save him from all this he's having to deal with.
Yeah, and then on top of that, there's also the fact that now since Otter Cops won, like they actually are kind of able to leave their post now.
Yeah. Maybe there will be a different formula next episode.
Maybe it was kind of putting people into a false sense of security. I will say this: what the hell is Sarah? Like, the fact that she was able to turn into that creepy little white.
Oh yeah, she's a Kappa.
Yeah, she just and then just turned into. It's like, see, I
escaped just like this.
Exactly, and you just see Kuji going into more and more more elaborate locks and stuff like that, and she's just constantly able to break out.
I'm pretty sure she's the same creature as Kepi.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
So it's very similar.
I guess we'll see.
So next up is Senryu Girl, which is the most adorable show this season.
Yeah, I'm glad it's a short form show too, because it's not that hard to watch each week. It's not as short as Joshi Kausei or Yatogame-chan.
It's half duration. It's 12 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But these characters are just so freaking cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels just long enough because we just get a little bit of interaction between
Busujima and Nanako.
Yeah, just them interacting in really adorable ways that it's this is obviously romance. Yeah, it's obviously gonna turn into romance.
Yeah, we can tell because it's all just been Nanako trying to figure out how to tell Busujima she likes him. And that's pretty much, and Busujima being too dense to realize it. But the thing about the most recent episodes, for one thing, we keep getting introduced to really cute characters every episode. A few weeks ago, it was the art girl who couldn't talk unless she was behind one of her her sketch pad. Last week we got introduced to the fortune teller girl, who I really like. I kind of like that kind of spooky goth vibe that she has.
Oh yeah, she's so smart too. Yeah, because when she goes to school, she just switches her hair to the other side to hide her true identity.
Hey, nobody else apparently picks up on it.
Oh yeah, Nanako's what happened?
Because as we've established, Nanako's kind of an airhead, but yeah. And then the most recent episode, we got introduced to Busujima's pet rabbit and his little sister.
Oh yeah,
his really fat pet rabbit.
Yeah, and who poops a lot.
Yeah, just way too much.
Yeah, I loved a little moment where Busujima's off with his rabbit and he's pooping, and his little sister's like, "Hey, are you his girlfriend?"
Yeah, it's no. And then I don't remember exactly what poem that Nanako uses, but then
she's saying, "No, but it makes me happy that you think that."
It's oh, so you're his mistress then? Yeah. Because I think.
Why do you know that word?
Yeah, just
you're 6.
Yeah, how do you know that word? And she even said something that made her go. It's that even made Busujima. Yeah, she's a little too smart for her age sometimes. And then the biggest part of this most recent episode was Nanako's dad being convinced that she was going through a rebellious phase. Mm-hmm. And I love, the comedy rule of 3 is always hilarious. And here it was, they think they delivered on it perfectly, because every time he heard something that made him fall over and faint, he just kept doing it. But then it's wait, mom says that. And right before he hits the floor, he stops, right before he hits the floor. Yeah. And then he just raises up backwards like Dracula coming out of his coffin or some shit.
Yeah, they did a really good job with the gags in the show while still being super adorable.
Yeah, even Nanako and her kind of a delinquent look, she still talked in Senryu.
Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't watched this show yet, I would definitely recommend it. Like we said earlier with Joshi Kausei, it's not that long out of your week.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not even a whole anime episode.
Yeah, it's It's a quick little show. I really appreciate it. So last on our list is Yatogame-chan.
Another quick little show.
Yeah,
I think it's also 3 minutes.
Yeah, another quick 3 minutes. Yeah. Not a lot to say. Like a lot of the humor comes from like just comedy, like about like misunderstandings and just trying to figure out about the Nagoya region, which I'm actually kind of interested in that. Just
they're dropping a lot of genuinely interesting info dumps, or not dumps, just info
like just
drops.
sprinkles. Yeah,
yeah, it's fun and it's fun and educational.
Yeah, exactly. I will say though that there isn't a lot to the characters as of right now. I mean, it's kind of hard.
There's not gonna be.
It's kind of hard to develop characters in 3 minutes.
Yeah, you just have main character who is audience insert to learn about Nagoya,
and also, hey, she acts like a cat. She's super adorable.
I love her accent.
Yeah, I like her accent too.
Which I don't know if that's actually their accent. I'm assuming it is, because this show was created in promotion to spread word about the prefecture.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the anime was made for.
Well, it probably tried to promote tourism, because that's how you do it.
It's weird to think about, like, because, like, if this were to happen in America, where they're like, oh, we're going to make a cartoon about Washington to make everyone want to go to Washington.
And not even like some of the well-known parts of Washington, like kind of the crappy sort of backwoods parts of Washington.
Exactly. So yeah, it'd be more like South Dakota or something like that. Some podunk state.
Yeah, just where there's nothing but corn and cows and all that lovely stuff.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you live in South Dakota.
I will say that it was actually a kind of cute little moment when actually seeing like Jean, the main character, trying to figure out like all this stuff, like all the shorthand, like kind of nicknames that all the people in Nagoya use for like different places in the city. And then like after seeing how hard he tried, like her just leaving his like her contact info in his notes. I thought that was just a little like, aw.
Yeah, I think it was like something in English.
Yeah.
Their contact info, and he's like, "What does this mean?"
Yeah.
What is it? It's like you're dumb. You're like, obviously dumb.
It's like, ugh, you're an idiot, kid.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen the show and you like cute girls, watch it.
Yeah.
If you want to know more about the Nagoya Prefecture,
just watch it.
Probably don't watch it because there's not a lot of info here, but there's a little bit.
Yeah, there's a little bit, and maybe it's somewhat accurate. Maybe it isn't.
Oh, really quick, I like the bit where the two friends who are from different places, different prefectures.
Oh.
It's essentially like the New York thing, where they're like, if you live anywhere in 100 miles of New York,
you claim New York.
Yeah, that's essentially what they said. Because like nobody cares about these other random places. We obviously live in Nagoya.
Exactly. So anyway, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of the Timesink Anime Podcast. It's been a really good season so far. A couple like questionable decisions like on some shows, but
I think we're watching everything that's good for the most part. If you guys know of anything that we aren't watching that is good, please tell us. Please share with the community, because I would love to see more good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to have another Bunny Girl situation where I didn't watch that until it was already over.
Yeah, and while better late than never, I suppose, it is a little bit like, oh, why didn't we watch this show while it was airing? This was so good. I mean, I guess on the upside, we got to binge it, so that's a benefit.
Yeah. So, new format. Like we said, we're doing this quarterly now. Once every 3 weeks, so we can focus on making other videos.
Yep. So if you like this one and want to see more from us, like especially going forward with different reviews and stuff like that, like, comment, subscribe, leave some keep the conversation going about some of these shows, because we certainly want to keep talking about it. Anime is most fun when you're talking about it with other people.
We're not going to be around every week for podcast episodes, but we will be very active on KITSU still, talking about all the shows.
Oh yes, absolutely. I will. I find it very good to just go on there and just like kind of leave notes and stuff like that constantly. That's what I'm always doing, just posting reactions to episodes I see.
Yeah, and it's super fun seeing other people's stuff too.
Absolutely.
Little blurbs about shows.
Yeah, it's
epic memes.
Yeah, it's a great platform. We're not sponsored by KITSU in any way, shape, or form. We just think it's a legitimately good service, and you should be on it. Because that's where we'll be. Anyway, until next time, guys, anchor away. Take care of yourselves.